Hello everyone! It's Heather, Ben, and Megan from Heather Travels, and we are here today to give you our 3-month update on the things that we are looking forward to after the pandemic is over. If you did not see it already, I will link it right up here. We made a video in April of 2020, and we listed 10 things that we were looking forward to doing after life got back to normal or whatever, after everything was better. We were under a stay-at-home order at the time. That stay-at-home order is not in place anymore. However, if you want to be safe, you probably should still be staying at home for the most part. So we're going to go through the 10 things that we said in that video and kind of give you an update on the status of each of these things. Okay, because some of them are kind of interesting.
Oh, now I remember this.
You remember making this video? Yeah, okay. The first thing that we said was going to the movie. This is an interesting one. At the time we made that video, every movie theater in like the whole country was closed. Probably in the whole world. I don't know. Since then, and they were postponing releases of a lot of movies. Okay, well since then several things have happened. First of all, Hollywood, the movie studios, have postponed movies again at least once or twice. So most movies have been postponed. There were a couple movies like Tenet and Mulan that were supposed to come out right now in July. It's July right now. Those aren't happening either.
I thought it was June.
Tenet.
No, it's a Christopher Nolan movie, the guy who made Inception.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So anyway, I know, right? Now there are a couple movies that are supposed to come out in August, but I'm really curious with cases spiking like in basically almost the whole country right now. I don't know if that's going to happen either. I'm really kind of curious to see if Hollywood just continues to postpone these movies. If anything new gets released even yet this year, I'm kind of doubting that'll happen, but we'll see. Okay, with the movie theaters, at the time we made that video, our local movie theater was closed for renovations in addition to having to be closed for the pandemic. That family that owns that movie theater owns 3 movie theaters in our area. The one in our town was closed for renovations. That has since reopened, and they are showing a wide variety of old movies. They've got like Jurassic Park, one of the Lord of the Rings movies,
It's like,
a Harry Potter.
it's like you could watch these on like anything.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of going to get like
Yeah.
probably
why-
sick
Right.
when you can just watch them at home?
Yeah,
why would you risk
exactly.
getting- why would you risk getting sick?
I know.
When you can just
that.
watch them anytime.
They're a theater in the next town that's basically the same as the one we have here, is also open, also doing the same thing. They do have different movies at each, and they are only charging $5. And they are, their seat reservation system is automatically social distancing people in the theater, but I still personally think that a movie theater is way too risky. It's ranked at like an 8 or a 9 for your risk of catching the virus. And I'm sure I understand why that is. It's because you're in an enclosed interior space with no fresh air, close to people who probably aren't wearing masks for an extended period of time. There is also an AMC theater in the next town over, but if you're aware, AMCs are still all closed. AMC did announce after a lot of backlash for saying they weren't going to require masks that they are going to be requiring masks. But I'm still waiting to see, like AMC may delay their reopening too because they don't want to open until there's new movies for them to show. And I don't know if Hollywood is going to release movies until things are way better than they are now. I very much miss going to the movies. It's a very big family activity for us to go to movies at the movie theater all the time, but especially in the summer. And we're going through a very extended, extremely hot streak of weather right now. There's actually a heat advisory today because it's going to feel like it's in the hundreds. It's been hot and humid for like 2 weeks, and there is no sign of it letting up anywhere in the like 10-day forecast. So it's a bummer not to go to a nice, cool, dark, air-conditioned movie theater. But like Ben said, why would you pay money and risk getting sick to go to a movie theater
When you probably
we own half those movies?
Yeah.
You know, we have them over there on
we can
DVD.
obviously watch them on like Hulu or
We
something.
could stream them, yeah, for free, or well, for what we pay for the Hulu, but you know, it just doesn't make any sense. The third theater that the people who own the theaters around here own is a budget theater in like an old classic movie theater downtown in the next town over. They opened that one first, and now they closed it again. They could not justify keeping it open because that was where they would have like the second run movies, like after the big movies had gone to the regular big theaters. And they're like, well, this is dumb because that's basically what they're doing at the regular movie theaters right now. So why do they need another movie theater open? And it's really small, and so they closed that one again. So there are currently one movie theater in our town open and one movie theater in the next town open showing old movies that you probably have at home or could stream at home. So not going to the movies. The second thing that we were looking forward to was we had tickets to 2 touring Broadway shows. Megan and I did. One was Anastasia, which was supposed to be in March?
Yeah, I think so.
They rescheduled that show to December, and our tickets are still good for the show in December. I'm very unsure if that will happen.
Yeah.
Broadway has announced, like Broadway in New York City has announced that they're not going to have any shows until 2021 at least. So I don't know if the touring shows will continue to go on or not. And I don't know how safe we're going to feel going to a theater in December. So we have the tickets. I don't know if it'll happen, if it'll get postponed again. If it does happen, I do want to go.
Yeah.
We'll probably wrap ourselves in like a bubble, wear a Tyvek suit, I don't know, something. But I do want to I really do want to see that show. And I'm hoping that maybe just like a lot of people will not show up. The second show we had tickets to was Frozen. Unfortunately, our Frozen tickets got canceled. They did reschedule the touring Frozen show to next fall, like over a year from now. And we were supposed to go to that like the Megan's birthday weekend at the end of May. And it's like a whole year and a half from then. But they could not secure enough new dates to replace all the dates they had for this year. So those of us who were the unlucky ones, our tickets just got canceled. The plus side of that was I got my money back. It was like almost $400. Okay, then also on the topic of theater, number 3 was we wanted to go to some shows at the Guthrie. I am kind of disappointed about this one. So basically the Guthrie is still closed. The Guthrie is a professional theater in Minneapolis. They had announced their 2020-21 season and had all sorts of like 5-6 shows we wanted to see. And now every show we wanted to see is canceled. So they reduced next year's season down to like 3 shows all the way like next summer. And I hope that in the future they will do those productions we were planning to see at some point. And so hopefully we'll get to see them. The one I am really disappointed about though is A Christmas Carol, because in school this next year in English, depending on what happens with school, and I'll come back to that, they do read A Christmas Carol in English class in the grade that Ben's going to be in. And so I took Megan to see A Christmas Carol at the Guthrie. They do an astounding production of A Christmas Carol at the Guthrie. And I wanted to take Ben, but that will not be happening. So he will not be seeing that. So I'm very sorry. All right, number 4, going to the library. Okay, the library has been a whole interesting thing. I am getting library books again. Yay! And we've kind of now settled into a routine. Our public library is closed and they have no intention of reopening anytime soon. So for a while they were having, I can't even remember, they've had different phases of what they've been doing. For a while you could only return your books Thursday night through Sunday morning. That's what it was, wasn't it? And so we could only return books on the weekend. And the first time we went to return books, because they weren't taking any books back for like 3 months, the thing was overflowing out of the side of the building. And I actually am good friends with the children's librarian at our public library. We went to high school and college together. I messaged her and said, hey, the stuff is falling out the side of the building. And she's like, oh, great, thanks for letting me know. And they went and fixed it. And then she's like, it's good now, you can return your stuff. So then I went back like an hour later or whatever and was able to return my stuff. Well, since everybody got like their 3 months worth of materials returned, now it's fine.
Yeah.
And now they've opened it up that you can return your library materials 24 hours a day through that slot, which is different than when the library is open. When the library's open, you can only return things in the slot outside, like at night when the library's closed. And if the library's open, you have to take the stuff inside. But since the library's closed, they're just making the outside slot available 24 hours a day, and you can just return all your stuff whenever you want to. So that's no problem. We can return things. And then they're doing curbside pickup. So how it works is you request stuff online through, like, there's a hold system and everything. I've had no trouble getting books. In fact, sometimes I get too many and I can't read them all. So I've been getting, books to read with Ben. Megan's been getting books and movies. Ben's been getting movies.
My book hasn't come in yet.
Oh, it should be coming soon. Sorry. You gotten stuff to watch though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been getting plenty of novels. I have 2 upstairs right now. One I still have like half to finish, and then another one ready to go. So it's been really nice being able to get books again, so I don't have to buy any. They send me an email when I have books in, and then you drive up to the library. You hold up a sign in the window. So one of the kids always goes with me so they can hold up the window sign for me with your alias. Your ID. It's the first 2 letters of your last name, the first 2 letters of your first name, and the last 4 digits of your phone number. And so then they go and get the books for you, which they have been quarantining the books for 72 hours. So whenever somebody returns books, the books have to be quarantined. Nobody touches them for 72 hours before they check them back in. And then, so when you get your bag of books, because they put them in a paper bag with a handle, nobody's touched those books. And so you put them, and then they come out and they put them in your trunk. And then you drive away, and they're masked and we're masked. And so it's really cool. It's really nice. I think the library is doing a really phenomenal job with being able to still provide services to people. I mean, the one thing that's a bummer is obviously like all the children's programs. They're doing a lot of stuff online, and they have like little grab and go children's
activity sets
that you can grab that they put out in like a wagon outside the library. And the one thing I guess would be computer access for people, which is a very big thing in the community. People aren't able to access, but they did tell you that if you park in their parking lot, you can still get their free Wi-Fi like through the wall. So if you have a device and you just need Wi-Fi, you can still use the library's Wi-Fi. All right, Ben, do you want to talk about number 5?
Going on a cruise / going in the ocean. Yes, definitely.
Okay, we kind of went to the ocean. Ben, what did we do?
We went to Lake Michigan, which you should have.
And Lake
Huron.
Yep. Which
when I was making my video on top 5 favorite Roblox games, I literally was thinking like, wait, was it like Michigan? Was it like Huron or like? Then I was like so confused.
It was actually both, because where the Mackinac Bridge is, which you'll see in some.
No, like behind the house.
Oh yeah, sorry, is actually kind of the dividing point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we actually went to both. So if you have not been to one of the Great Lakes, they're basically like an ocean.
But you may be able to see like land around like.
Yeah, depending on where you are. But there are some points where you cannot see across, and there are waves and all. Okay, but going on a cruise, what's happening with cruises, guys?
They're all
closed.
They're all closed down. There are some cruises going in other parts of the world, starting up in like Hurtigruten in Norway, just for Norwegian and Danish passengers. There's like Genting cruises, I think, in Asia, just for like passengers in Taiwan. But U.S. passengers, no cruising for us. CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association, voluntarily closed down all cruising through September 15th. I think just out of the United States. The no sail order by the CDC is supposed to end in like 2 weeks, and there's no word on what's happening with that. I think it'll probably get extended. The European Union came up with a whole big 49-page document to help cruise lines in Europe reopen and set sail, like health guidelines and stuff that the cruise lines have to follow. But the CDC hasn't come up with anything like that yet. So I predict that there will not be any cruising out of U.S. ports for at least another year. Sorry.
Or more.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're going to have, 2 cruise lines have already gone bankrupt, smaller cruise lines. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I think Disney Cruise Line, which is my favorite, if you haven't seen my video about 10 favorite things about Disney
it's
Cruise
gotta,
Line?
It's gotta be Disney because like Disney is just
They're going to be fine. And the reason I know they're going to be fine is number one, they only have 4 ships. And number two, they make money in plenty of other ways.
movies.
Disney Plus,
Disney Plus.
theme parks, so TV shows. So I don't think Disney Cruise Line is going anywhere. So, and that would probably be our next cruise anyway.
Yeah.
Would be on
Yeah.
Disney Cruise Line.
Unlike other cruise lines, they just have ships, so that's the only way.
Right,
they
that's
make
the only way
money.
they. So if their ships can't go, then how do they make money? We definitely still want to go on cruises, and there are a bunch of cruises that we want to go to like European ports, and we can't go to Europe right now because U.S. tourists are not allowed to go to Europe right now because we have too many virus cases. Thanks, folks. Okay, number 6, Disneyland. Yes, of course we still want to go to Disneyland. Disneyland was supposed to open on July 17th. That's not happening. So they've been, the opening of Disneyland has been postponed indefinitely. California has a record high number of cases. Can't go to Disneyland. So
Aren't there other Disney parks that are open though?
Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea, good point, have reopened. Shanghai Disneyland has reopened. Did Hong Kong reopen?
I think so.
I think
Like
all the
Asian-
Asia parks are all reopened. Could we go to Asia? Maybe. That would be a money issue.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fly on a plane right now.
Right.
But yeah, I suppose technically we could go to the Asia parks. Well, Disney World is opening right now, like as we're making this
Oh,
video.
wow.
Animal Kingdom, they're in soft opening now. Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom opened on July 11th. Epcot and Hollywood Studios are opening on July 15th. And I'm really curious to see how the reopening of Walt Disney World goes
Yeah.
with all the cases they're having in Florida right now. So, or if it even stays open, or if it opens at all.
Right.
You'll know by the time this video goes up. And then that brings me to number 7, which is Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Paris is scheduled to open yet this month, I think, in July.
Yeah.
We very much want to go to Disneyland Paris. Can't go. Americans can't go to Europe. London also can't go. Americans can't go to Europe.
But
No.
we would definitely go.
We'll definitely go as soon at our earliest safe
Right.
allowable possibility. Number 9, Megan's trip. We have an update on this.
We started out, we got an email, or we got a notice from the company my school was traveling with that gave us a couple options. And basically, most of them, you could still go on the trip either like at this time with this teacher or whatever. And like one of the options was to cancel.
Originally,
Originally, I postponed. It was postponed to next year, roughly the same dates, probably just a year later in June. And I think I signed up for the one that was the same
Group you were-
teacher
yeah.
group and time length.
they didn't give us really any details.
Yeah.
They didn't give us dates. They didn't know if it was even going to be the same itinerary.
Right.
But that was what they were hoping for.
However, just a couple weeks ago, I think, I decided I wanted to actually cancel for multiple reasons. One, I'm not sure if the trip is even going to happen at all, especially
I
now
don't think it
because
will.
Americans can't go to Europe.
Yeah, I don't think
So,
it's going to happen.
Yeah. Also, I kind of just wanted my money back. I got a job for a little bit myself
Last summer.
last summer.
A year ago.
A year ago. And I didn't really like it, but I worked really hard and I got like a lot of money from it. And I guess I just decided I didn't want to put that money towards a trip I didn't even think I was going on.
Yeah.
I also just don't feel very safe with the pandemic, and I don't know how that's going to change in a year. Right now, I don't want to go on a plane. I don't want to go with a group at all. Like, that's a lot of people just in general. I've thought this for a long time, but I just really settled on I don't want to go to Europe for the first time without my mom and my family. I don't want to go with a school group. I don't like traveling with school groups. It always kind of turns out into a disaster. So, yeah, I've just
Look at
decided-
this playlist.
You have a playlist for it?
Your New Orleans trip.
Oh. Yeah, I've decided I don't like traveling with school groups, and I don't want to, even though I trust my teacher a lot, and the people who were in that group were good people, pandemic aside, I just don't feel comfortable going to another country for the first time especially when I want to visit so much without mom.
Yeah.
Because mom is the one I trust with travel, and yeah.
I totally understand what she means because I've actually been having some apprehension about her first trip to Europe being without me as well. And Andrew had an advantage. Andrew had been to Europe with me before he took his first trip to Europe or his first trip anywhere with a school. Yeah. He went to Europe with me when he was 10. And then the first time he went on a school trip was when he was in 7th grade and he got to go to Washington, D.C. with student council. And then he went on his 2 music trips in high school, and he went to France in high school on this France trip, and then he went to Europe twice in college. All of those experiences where he went with groups were after he had already gone to Europe with me. And Megan and Ben have not had the opportunity to go to Europe yet at all. And they and I all really want their first European or international experience to be with me. So that is
Mostly just like together.
yeah, because we want to do it together. We want to experience it
Right.
together. And so, like going to Switzerland, going to London, going to France, going to Paris, all those things, we want to do those things together.
It's me.
And I totally agree. I don't feel comfortable with Megan going on an international flight if the pandemic, I mean, who knows if there'll be who knows what things are going to be like in a year. I don't know what miraculous thing people think is going to happen, that it's going to be any better a year from now than it is right now. I wouldn't want her going on an international flight and all that. And then the other thing is we did take a pretty sizable and significant financial loss by canceling because
It was like
$900.
it was like $900.
Yeah, it was like $900 we lost because they canceled late. They canceled like in late March or April, and they had already booked the flights, and they had already booked all the hotels and the activities, and they had paid out a lot of money. And if you don't know this, pandemics are not covered by travel insurance. So even though they had good travel insurance, they lost a lot of money. If we stayed with the postpone thing and the same thing happened again, we would probably have lost even more money. And I really wanted her to have her money back, and her brother Andrew paid
a lot
of
He
money.
paid the most, I think.
Yeah, of anybody, even
like
more than her scholarship.
It's like a couple $1,000s.
Yeah, and so we wanted Andrew to have his money back because Andrew did also lose his job in the pandemic and could use that money. So, and then the last thing of our 10 was to make more vlogs. All right, now we have made more vlogs because we took that trip to Mackinac Island. We have made more vlogs, and we do have more travel plans in the future. So there will be.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe.
Wait, it's me that I do.
Yep.
It's really hard when I'm like squished by the couch in here.
Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So there will be lots more vlogs coming. I really am trying to do more vlogs and actual travel stuff out and about on my channel. I know there's been a lot of this of us at home talking videos because of the pandemic and everybody being stuck at home. I hope that you've enjoyed them, but you know, I understand that the vlogs are more popular. Okay. Yes, so there's one other thing about our list that we mentioned in that last video.
We don't want to do school.
Right.
Not necessarily. We don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
Right.
It says
I'm
don't
fine
want
with
to do
doing
school.
the online program, the distance learning that our schools had set up for this past year, the end
Right.
of this past year. But we are unsure if
We don't know what's happening with
we
our
don't know
school.
what's going to happen. We don't know if that distance learning is going to keep up, or if we're going to have to find a different online program, or if people are going to try to open school. But we do not want to go physically to school.
No.
Because
we're
right now
we're not going until it's actually safe.
right now, school is literally the definition
of where you're not supposed
where
to
you're
go
not
during the
supposed to go.
pandemic. Let's list those 5 things, okay, right? Here's the 5 things that they say to absolutely positively avoid during the pandemic. Number 1, being around lots of people. Number 2, being inside. Number 3, being in close contact with people.
classroom.
Have you been in a school? Number 4, not wearing masks. Good luck with that, folks. If you think that you're going to get kids, especially little kids, to keep masks, or even high schoolers to keep masks on all day,
People in my school wouldn't keep masks on. don't even
not
work.
happening.
Most
Okay?
of them probably don't even own one.
Those 4 things are the things you're absolutely supposed to avoid at all costs to avoid getting infecting.
Right.
And number 5 is any of the combination of those 4 over an extended period of time.
Hey, guess what that is?
School! For example, like the 8 hours that you're inside a school building. I'm sorry. Opening schools back up is crazy. That is nuts. And don't give me the arguments about the kids. First of all, kids do get sick and die of this or get hospitalized. I don't want that to happen to any child. And secondly, about a third of the people in the building are adults, okay? Teachers, secretaries, the principal, the janitor, the people who serve your kids food. Do you want them to get sick, hospitalized, or die? I don't. School is crazy.
That would be awful to have. I mean, I've had people who work in my school, like staff. One cafeteria lady who was really well known in my elementary school died a while ago while I was still in elementary school.
Yeah. My 4th grade teacher died of cancer when I was in 4th grade. That was devastating. Think of how traumatic it would be for children if people who work in their schools get sick and die
Because they're at school.
because they're at school. Have you thought about that?
to lose a teacher at all,
Yeah.
just
You're at
really
school, they're there.
traumatic.
The next day, they're not.
There is no way to social
Why- why
distance
would
in a
you
school. I mean,
No.
the reason teachers are freaking out and parents are freaking out at the CDC's guidelines for schools, it's not that the CDC hasn't ever been in a school. Of course they have. They all went to school, okay? It's impossible because it's impossible, okay? There's no way to make a school safe. There's just not. There just isn't. I think opening schools during a pandemic is absolutely nuts. And my children and I, who was a teacher, will not be returning as long as there is a pandemic. That's just not happening. I am very stressed and worried about how we're going to make money
Right.
going forward, but I'm going to trust that that's going to be okay and we're going to figure it out somehow. Our health and our lives are much more important to me. And because I was a teacher, I do have the advantage that even if all the things that Megan says don't happen, even if our school district doesn't offer a distance learning option, which is my first choice, or even if we can't find a good alternative online program, which would be my second choice, I can homeschool them. I mean, ask them, what did I do for the first 2 weeks? School was
You
closed.
made mom school.
I
And
made
it was
mom school.
fantastic.
They liked mom school way better than school.
Yeah.
So
Like, see that, Mom?
it's a lot of work, but I made lesson plans for them and daily writing prompts
It's not that
and,
much work.
all sorts of stuff. I've taught every subject there is through substitute teaching
Yeah.
over years and years. So I can teach them. The only thing I'm a little worried about is she's supposed to have physics this year and
And
algebra
algebra
2, which I don't feel real confident about those. So if I do end up homeschooling then, I'm going to have to find something else for her for those things. But otherwise, we're
All
going to
easy.
we're going to be fine. I mean, to me, I understand the whole thing about the economy, but I don't completely agree with that anyway, because basically what you're saying is you're saying that school is childcare. And schools should not be childcare. Schools should be education. But we do feel very strongly about this. The kids did not want to go back to school. They liked being home with me. They're happy at home with me. They're not having to deal with the drama and bullying that goes on in school.
I can make lots of videos.
Ben can make lots of videos for his
And
channel.
have a whole bunch of fun at home.
Ben and I have been wanting to be homeschooled. We've been literally begging mom
Before the pandemic.
long before the pandemic, just because of all the drama and just the
Issues with other
social
kids.
difficulties at school.
Yeah.
It's way easier for us to learn at home, and obviously not everyone is like that, but it's just been
Really nice.
it's been nice to take a step away from that.
Megan did way better in all of her classes once she got to be at home. And the thing that was key for her was not having the distraction of other students around her, distracting her from being able to focus on her work. And the other thing I think that they both really appreciated was being able to work at their own pace.
Right.
Again, like Megan said, we know this is not the case for everybody. I do think there are some kids who do really need the services of school, but I feel like there should be a way to tackle that. Like, what if just the kids who need special services go to school and they give them the building and, then they have plenty of room to space out, and as many kids as possible are distance learning at home. And so school is the one thing we definitely will not be doing. We're not looking forward to it because we won't be going there. I mean, I would think eventually Ben will go back to a school building
Yeah.
in the future when there's no pandemic anymore or when there's a vaccine.
I have no plans to go back to school even if there is safety there. Like, if the pandemic magically ends in the next 2 years or if there's a vaccine, I just don't want to go back to school. I only have 2 years left of high school and it's easy enough to do college at home. So even if there isn't the risk of the pandemic anymore, I don't think I'm going to be going back to physical school.
Yeah. And I was a little bit concerned about her with, are you going to be worried that you miss things like, doing the play or going to prom or things like that? And
Not really.
she doesn't really care. She doesn't really care. So if she's not upset about it, I want her to be happy and I want her to be in an environment where she feels safe and comfortable. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope that you found this interesting and informative. I'm really curious to see how are your wish lists or the things that are, are there any of these that struck a chord with you that you're like, oh yeah, this is what's happening with us with that too? Or, are there things that you thought you might be able to be doing by now that you still can't do and that you don't know when they're gonna happen again? I'm curious about that. Leave those in the comments. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up down below and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks everyone for watching this video today. Safe travels!
Safe travels!